When I was a kid, I loved Duran Duran. I loved them so much that my plan as an adult was going to be marrying John Taylor, the bass player. And if that did not work out, my plan B was to marry Simon Le Bon, Nick Rhodes, Roger Taylor, or Andy Taylor from Duran Duran. I wasn't picky, it didn't matter. There was no plan C. However, there was some obstacles. A, it was a minor, so B, I lived in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. So this was going to be an obstacle for me to get across the pond to them. So, cut to the late 1900s, turn of the century, in the city of angels. I was so cool that I lived in a studio apartment just north of Rock and Roll Ralph's just off of Sunset. Yeah. And I remember this day all too well. It was a Monday. I got in my Ford Escort with my Kansas plates, and I was heading west on Sunset to go to Santa Monica at the production company that I worked for. I was listening to Kevin and Bean in the morning on K-Rock, and they started talking about this hodgepodge potpourri type band that had just been put together. This band had played the last 2 previous Mondays at the Viper Room. They were going to be playing tonight at the Viper Room. This band was called the Neurotic Outsiders. It was made up of Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols, Duff and Matt from Guns N' Roses, and John Taylor from Duran Duran. I almost rolled my Ford Escort with my Kansas plates down Sunset. I went, oh my God, I don't know what? And I am like, okay, hey, I got this. Now, this band did not have a lead singer. They had a rotating cast of lead singers. Previous lead singers, Billy Idol, Adamant. The rumor that night was Simon Le Bon from Duran Duran. Oh no, my mic. You know what? This is where you guys all get to watch me die. Okay, don't back up, Brandee, don't back up. So, here I am. I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Literally, as I'm hearing this on the radio, the Viper Room is on my left. I could drive past it. There are 2 women already lined up. Now, quick reminder, this was the late 1900s, turn of the century, and the internet didn't exist yet. And Ticketmaster existed, but they hadn't ruined everything yet. So the only way I was going to be able to get in was to get in that line. So I drove to my job in Santa Monica, and I was getting sick. I was getting sicker and sicker. Ooh, cold chills, cough. And so my illness progressed throughout the day. And by 3 o'clock, I was sent home. And I made a beeline to the fucking Viper Room. And as I drove by, there's like 6 women already lined up. They are such cool looking women. They are like rockabilly, punk rock women. They all have on black. I drive another block or so to like a valet parking lot. I ditch the Ford Escort with Kansas plates. And I go running up and I get in line. And immediately I look down at myself and I'm like, oh shit. Again, late 1900s, early 2000s, turn of the century. I looked like Connie from accounting that had just baked a casserole and turned it into her church bake sale. I am a woman, so I remember exactly what I was wearing. You're welcome. I had on a brand new stark white shell sweater, a matching stark white cardigan with pearl buttons, khaki pants, and brown loafers. And now I'm in line at the Viper Room. I quickly become friends with these 6 women, and I apologize over and over for my appearance. I'm so sorry, I look atrocious. And they forgave me. They understood the situation. So for the next few hours, we chatted, talked about our love for, they talked about other people, I talked about Duran Duran. And finally, around like 6, 7, they let us in. I think it was like $7 or $8. So we get in. There is a line around the block. It was sold out, so I didn't have a choice. I made the correct one. So I'm sure some of you, half of you, all of you have probably been to the Viper Room at some point. That place is fucking small. And the 7 of us basically line up against the stage. I'm in the front. But my heart sinks when I look over and I see a bass propped up on the other side. And I'm like, oh, my husband, how is he gonna see me from over here? And in front of me, I'm not in the center, but I'm just off to the side, is a small space for the lead singer. So I guess my backup plan, my plan B of Simon Le Bon becoming my husband is just, it's gonna work out fine. So the band comes out, they start playing, and I gotta say, it's like, not my cup of tea of music. But I'm like, where's the lead singer? And it is not Simon Le Bon, it's Iggy Pop. So Iggy Pop is in front of me in his small space, and he can't like really dance around, so he's just like right there. And it's so fucking hot in the Viper Room. It's so hot. And Iggy Pop is sweating, and he's just like, and his sweat is just doing this to me. And his DNA is sweat is going into my mouth and into my eye sockets. His DNA is in my hair, and it's going up my nose. And I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to get tested for all the diseases. And as the evening progresses, it gets hotter and hotter in there. And Iggy Pop takes off his shirt. Now, normally, if it would have been Simon Le Bon, and Simon Le Bon took off his shirt, hell yeah. But this is Iggy Pop, and no offense to Iggy Pop, but that's like taking the shirt off of a walker on The Walking Dead. And I'm like, not really into it. So Iggy Pop is just like rubbing himself, and he's like, yeah, and he's singing. And again, it's like I'm in the front row of a Gallagher show, and it's like, dish, dish, dish. And I'm just like, I want the evening to end. And my husband, John, isn't even noticing me. But he's not, like, these women were so cool looking. He was not even acknowledging them. I think he was having a bad night. And so I'm like, finally, the show is over. And I'm like, thank God. I want out of here so bad. And so I go to leave, and it was so nice to have the cool air hit my face. And I go walking down Sunset Boulevard, and I get over to the valet parking lot, and I get underneath the street light. I hand the gentleman my ticket, and he recoils somewhat. He's like, oh. And he's like, honey, what happened? Are you okay? And I'm like, oh, well, I was gonna meet like my husband, and then like he wasn't even like paying attention, and he's like, no, stop. Honey, you're covered in blood. And I'm like, what? And I turn around and I look at the woman standing behind me, and she's like, oh God, what happened? And I go, fucking Iggy Pop happened. I'm gonna have to get tested for all of the diseases because I look like a Jackson Pollock painting. And it's just like I had a crisp white canvas that he was working on. Seriously, I looked like your cool grandma in Boca Raton living her best life that just murdered her husband with an axe. And I get in my car and I head back down Sunset. I go up north of Rock and Roll Ralph's, and I get home and I take a long, hot silkwood shower, and you can't get the water hot enough because I have Iggy Pop's blood in my hair. And again, diseases, and I'm like, oh God. So I get out of the shower, and I don't know what to do with this pile of clothes. I'm from Kansas. I'm hardworking. I just bought them. I can't throw them away. So I get a trash bag, and I put the clothing in the trash bag, and then I put it up in my walk-in closet. Do I go and get tested for all of the diseases? Yeah, I do. Good news, I tested negative for Iggy Pop. Thank you. However, I do, have other diseases now, but I can't blame Iggy Pop. I can only blame, my family tree. What's up, lupus? Pow. So it's fine. And so I finally went to move, and I pulled down my trash bag. I knew what it was. The entire time, I just knew what it was, and I was avoiding it. And I opened it up, and I remember the smell, just hitting me of, stale cigarettes, dried beer, Iggy Pop's blood, and just sadness. So I threw it away immediately because that shit was nasty. And just so you guys know, for the record, I never married John Taylor from Duran Duran, nor Simon, Nick, Roger, or Andy. And you know what? I survived, just like not killing myself in the back of this fireplace. Thank you.